So how does one protect themselves when they're divorcing a high conflict person, including those who may be violent or become violent under that additional stress?
Yeah, so there's several things, and I guess the biggest I would give is to read my book, Splitting, because it tells you how to deal with court, how to deal with settling out of court, mediation, etc., what to expect, how to prepare before you leave, before you even announce that you want to separate or divorce. It can be really helpful that way. But in many ways, it's getting support people, getting knowledgeable people, having a lawyer you can at least consult with. More people these days try to go without lawyers. But if you're facing a high conflict case, you really need to talk to a lawyer about the procedures and how to follow that, and ideally have them represent you if you do have big court hearing. But also, I think it helps to have a therapist, someone you can talk to, even if it's occasionally. And of course, working out how to be safe, knowing where to be, where not to be, not to disclose certain things, to have people around you who are supportive without telling you what to do, because that's one thing to watch out. Some people just, want to say, oh, here's what you have to do. And that doesn't really help. You want people that say, I can understand you're going through a lot. Let me know if there's some way I can be helpful.
Gosh, there was so much good advice in there, but one or two things that really jumped out at me is that while it always makes sense if you have the luxury of planning ahead for a divorce or life transition, separation, that it's really, really more important and valuable if you're breaking up with a high conflict individual. And then also, having a support team around you who understands the situation and may understand that what might work in non-high conflict situations may actually be counterproductive in a high conflict divorce. Is that right?
Yeah. So, some things that people do in ordinary case is they just talk directly. They talk about the past. They try to give the person insight. They say, I have to tell you how I feel. When you said this, it made me feel this way. With high conflict people, sad to say, you have to forget about four things. One of them is telling how you feel, because that feeds their manipulation of emotion and may escalate their own emotions beyond what they can calm down. And don't try for insight, because high conflict people don't have insight into their own part. So when you try to push that on them, they push back harder that it is all your fault. And don't emphasize the past. Really talk about, let's look at our choices now. Talk about what to do now. Because when you go into the past, high conflict people live in the past. They're always defending and justifying and all of that. And it's the quicksand. You just get sucked into that. So really avoid going for emotions, insight, the past. And also don't tell them you think they're a high conflict person. That's absolutely off the table. That just will make your life so much worse if you tell them that.